Dallas Cowboys fans, what is up this morning? I know you guys are just as excited as I am about what we got to witness last night. It was the Dallas Cowboys 40, the New York Giants 0 at MetLife Stadium. So the New York Giants had a home game, but you could not tell if you watched this game. It was the special team starting things off. Defense just completely put their foot, I guess you want to say, on the New York Giants' necks from start to finish. And the offense did exactly what they needed to do. Just be efficient. There were not any of those really spectacular highlight plays on offense what we become accustomed to. But what they did do was made sure that they did not rock that wave of momentum that the special teams and defense had created, and just pretty much handled ball and just made sure everything was going to go the exact way that we planned on it. So, as always, it's week one. I want you guys to go ahead and like, subscribe, share, comment down below. You guys are appreciated. Let's get into it. We can get into this thing from the very beginning. It was the same way I said. It turned into a rout as quickly as possible. I guess, and I'll say easily just from right now, way sooner than I expected. Because we're looking at a situation now where the Dallas Cowboys, of course, we know all the talk that's been going on. What is Dak Prescott going to look like? We do know, again, the elevated, I guess you want to say, numbers, the 15 interceptions. A lot of times, to me, and I guess if you had any two working eyes, last season you could tell, a lot of them weren't even always necessarily on him. But what we're going to look for is results, because at the end of the day, this team is going to go as all three facets of the game work together in cohesion. We're talking about this defense, this offense, and special teams. Like Mike McCarthy said, again, when the decision to let Kellen Moore go was already finally made, the number one statement from Mike McCarthy, he wants to see the best team. He's not worried about having the best offense. He wants to have the best team. Look right here. We're talking about, again, the acquisition from the Miami Dolphins in the Kelvin Joseph trade. It showed wonders. It worked wonders from the beginning. Wanye Thomas, a guy that's kind of made a name for himself throughout the training camp process, early preseason. A guy, Bones Fossil, special teams coach, made a big name for. Put his big word in for him. Again, block field goal. It's insane. We're talking about, again, this is momentum. These are momentum plays that are going to completely drive this team in this upcoming season. Brandon Aubrey, we can already say we see now just the mix of the issues now. What I will give him a lot of credit for, he misses the extra point after that first touchdown, the special teams touchdown, of course, but he's locked it back in. I was kind of worried. I'm like, okay, look, a guy like Brandon Aubrey, we've seen a little inconsistent, but he picked it up a little bit more towards the end of preseason. A guy like that, he's going to have to be consistent. And he showed that he kind of cleared his head a little bit. I was very worried early on. I'm looking, okay, we need to go into kicker talks already Monday morning. But he got it back together. We see a big catch by CeeDee Lamb. Again, the offense did nothing spectacular. It was nothing too crazy, but at the same time, it was just pretty much staying on schedule. We don't have to go too much into look at this. Again, we're going on to the defense. A guy, again, we already know one of your big names. A guy that just got his big contract extension, Trayvon Diggs. Big hit on Saquon Barkley. Deron Bland, the guy that's always in the right place. Catches the fumble in the air, runs it in. We're talking about now the score is 16-0. The defense is flying. Marquise Bell, a guy moving from safety to linebacker in the DeMarvion Overshown aftermath. Of course, the unfortunate injury. A guy like that, we're going to be expecting things from a Marquise Bell. Again, now you're getting your feet wet. And what you wanted to see, a game that turned into quickly a rout. Now you're able to get some opportunities for some of these other guys that maybe don't get as much playing time. Brandon Cooks. I want to say exactly. I want to call it an efficient game for Brandon Cooks, because again, there was nothing spectacular, but there were a couple big plays from a guy like that. We're talking about a fourth down catch right here. Big catch, takes the big hit, hangs onto the ball. A consistent offense. Pretty much, I can say the same word over and over. Efficient. That's all we were looking for. We did have some drops. The tight end room, I want to say, we're going to expect way more, hopefully, in week two and moving forward, because the tight ends, I will give them credit for the run blocking. But other than that, a lot left to be desired. Jake Ferguson, a guy I've spoken about many times. I had high expectations for a guy like that. I don't want to say disappointed me, but did not give me what I was expecting, what I'm hoping for. We can't let, again, the small things. Catching the ball. That's the simplest aspect of the game, especially when you're a pass catcher we're talking about. But look at this right here. Following on to the dominance of the defense, Stephon Gilmore. Daniel Jones looks to run outside of the pocket. Micah Parsons, of course, in full pursuit. Stephon Gilmore makes a spectacular play on the ball. Again, just adding to the threat that we have opposite of a Trayvon Diggs. This defensive back room led, I want to say spearheaded by a guy like a J-Ron Curse, your vocal leader. You're going to literally have to just pretty much pick your poison, it looks like now, because Trayvon Diggs on the one side, we do know, again, Deron Bland, the opportunist, in there in the middle. Hopefully we can get a guy like Jordan Lewis back real soon, way sooner than later. Also getting back a guy like Donovan Wilson in these next coming weeks, hopefully. But having Stephon Gilmore on that opposite side of the ball, I don't want to say you choked this offense out all night pretty much. You can speak on just the dominance of the pass rush. Guys like Chauncey Golston, sacks. A guy like Dorrance Armstrong, we saw with the 8+ sacks, I believe, 8.5 last year, I think. A guy like Dorrance Armstrong got in on the action. Micah Parsons, we already know, spearheading the show. Osa Odigizua, a guy I've literally has grown more and more on me in this last I want to say within the last month. Just when you see the addition that he can be to a room such as that consists of a guy like Jonathan Hankins, Mozzie Smith. It was pretty much a just very cohesive showing on the defensive side of the ball, spearheaded by that front seven. All night, you can see, look right here, you're talking about a Saquon Barkley. He's now going to pretty much be your weapon that everybody's going to keep an eye on going forward. Daniel Jones, to talk about him just getting this extension, Daniel Jones expected to make this crazy leap. I'm sure New York Giants fans were not happy about how the game that went last night and just his production. But a lot of it, I will say, not even really excuse making, but you're looking at it. This guy was kind of running for his life the entire time. We do know the Cowboys have now won 11 straight games with Dak Prescott as a starting quarterback against the New York Giants. This is just one of those callings, I guess, where it says like a team that just has your match. There's not much you can do about it. Daniel Jones does seem to have some, I guess you want to say he's had some success against us, more so running than anything else. But last night, that was pretty much his best bet. There was not much Daniel Jones was going to give you. These receivers, of course, getting a guy like Darren Waller from the Las Vegas Raiders. That was a guy a lot of people were expecting to make some noise and make some splash plays. They're feeling like he's going to be, I guess you want to call him in a certain way, a certain sense. Your de facto wide receiver, tight end one, a guy like that is going to be your pass catcher and spearhead and lead that Giants passing game. Also, a guy like Jalen Hyatt drafted from the Tennessee Volunteers by the New York Giants this last draft. Did not get to even put a foot or a stamp on this game. So it was just a rundown of, like I said, it was poetic just to watch. The O-line pretty much showed out. No sacks for the New York Giants. No sacks at all. Tony Pollard now running in his second touchdown of the game. Again, a guy we're expecting some things from because we do know Ezekiel Elliott no longer a Dallas Cowboy, now a New England Patriot. Tony Pollard, what are you going to look like running the show? Again, there is no such thing as pretty much sneaking in on anybody. There's no more softening up the defense. And I guess the words that were kind of used as what Ezekiel Elliott brought to the team, and then Tony Pollard comes in and finishes you off. Now you're running back one. Tony Pollard showed, of course, I think there's a level above. I'm not going to pretend like the offense played just lights out and there are no issues and nothing to worry about. Or just not even worry about, just that you want to focus on and get much cleaner at. But it was a fresh, good start, like I said, for a guy like Tony Pollard, just showing that he can carry that full workload. Also, Dak Prescott, not anything spectacular. It was a game, I believe, 14 of 24. I will get into the stats in a little bit, but it was just more of an efficient game, Dak Prescott. I guess when you watch this game, the number one thing you can kind of tell is just Dak, you didn't want him to be out there pretty much just gunning the ball down the field if it wasn't necessary. Again, like Mike McCarthy says, best team, not best offense. Sometimes the game is going to call for us to go in there and we're going to have these shootouts. So if you're expecting Dak Prescott to not have any 300, 400 possibly passing yard type games, 3-4 touchdowns, you're crazy. But last night, it didn't call for that. I do not want to see any Cowboys fans, because we do know how national media is going to be. They're not going to focus on the Cowboys as a team winning 40-0. They're going to focus on not the dominance of the Dallas Cowboys defense, not the special teams making plays. They're going to focus on what did Dak Prescott do. This is a team game. You can't have any more of a team game than the NFL, than football more specifically, I say. Football is the ultimate team sport. Everybody needs someone else to be able to do their job for the most part. So all the playmakers we have, you have a CeeDee Lamb, a Brandon Cooks. We didn't get to see too much of Michael Gallup. We didn't see really anything from a guy like Jalen Tolbert. But you did see, again, efficiency, being pretty much, I guess you want to say what I will give Dak, very decisive. And again, we also saw some drops. Was Dak perfect? By no means was he. I can count on to me, I want to say a missed touchdown throw to CeeDee Lamb on one of our close to red zone trips. But what Dak did was just pretty much drove the bus, handled business, and it was poetic. Kevontae Turpin getting in to take the lead, to now help take the lead to 40-0. A guy like Kevontae Turpin, again, are going to be one of those X-Factor type players. They're going to move him around a little bit. What exactly can you bring? Look, right here, just being opportunistic. We do now, this game is pretty much completely, it's been over for a while, let's be clear. Trayvon Diggs strips the strip on after the chase and tackle. Again, just opportunistic. That's what Dan Quinn is all about. He's all about that fire, that energy. The Dallas Cowboys now finally sitting here at 1-0 after a long offseason. It's felt like since the 49ers lost. This is exactly how you want to get it started. Look at the rain coming down. It was one of those games. So you pretty much needed all hands on deck. And again, when you're talking about weather conditions, things that can get a little shaky, you want to hop out on teams as early as you can so that you can just pretty much coast to the finish line. That's what the Dallas Cowboys did. I'm excited. I hope you guys are too, because again, let's just lock in. Take this one game at a time. We will get into it a little bit more about the Jets in the coming days because that will be our week 2 opponent. But let's enjoy this. Let's not go into the picking sides and who could have done what better. Let's enjoy it for a day. By midweek, then we get into the New York Jets because again, tonight, Monday Night Football, it will be the Buffalo Bills versus the New York Jets, so we'll be able to get a quick look at what's to come for the Dallas Cowboys for the next opponent. Again, New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers. We do know exactly what that man has been for the Dallas Cowboys in the past decade plus. So, again, it's pretty much just now. That's exactly how you want to get it started. It was a nice, I want to say rough draft to what you're looking for. Week 1, of course, you're going to find things that you can fix. Good start. Great start. Excuse me. I'll say great start. Now we can take a look at the stats from this game. You don't want to go again. This is not a game if you're looking offensively that you're trying to actually key in on what the stat sheet look like, because again, that will not tell the story of the actual game. Offense at a certain point, I want to say again, at the end of the first quarter, the score is 16-0. At this point now, you're pretty much honestly seeing that your defense is dominating the New York Giants offense. So there's not much that you need to put into this game that's going to just knock us off. Now, again, do we need to be much cleaner? Yes, let's be clear. Nope, because that's not going to be the formula for every single win of this season, because sometimes defense is not going to be as locked down. And that's not necessarily saying as if the talent's going to fall off or anything, but sometimes you're just going to go against another good offensive coordinator that can scheme up a couple good plays against you. So we're going to need more out of this offense. So Dak Prescott, the stat sheets are looking a little pedestrian, but again, that's what the game called for. 13 of 24, 143 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, was not sacked at all. Let's talk about this offensive line for a minute. Of course, we do know prior to the game, we learned Tyler Smith's not going to be out there at left guard. So fortunately, we had Tyron Smith yesterday. No sacks giving up. I'm not sure he even gave up any pressures. Tyron Smith, if we can keep him healthy, we know the Hall of Famer that he is, the future Hall of Famer, the multi-time All-Pro, the multi-time Pro Bowler. Tyron Smith is literally going to be that leader on that left side. That's why you're looking to hopefully have a guy like Tyler Smith right next to him so he can continue to learn, continue to grow, because we do know, again, most importantly, in parentheses, quotations, whatever you want to put it in, when healthy, Tyron Smith is still, I guess you want to say, a force to be reckoned with at the left tackle position in the NFL. So we are good. We are good right there as long as we can get these guys healthy and, again, just working as a unit. Also, again, Zach Martin, you saw Terrence Steele. This offensive line themselves, again, there was a lot of I guess you want to say, just good play. And a guy that I was kind of worried about going to the game learning, he'll be getting the start in place of Tyler Smith, Chuma Edoga. Again, I believe he gets a little banged up during the game, but there was not too much fall off. Again, we're talking about consistently. What we saw was that the run game, again, there was nothing even too crazy. Looking at Tony Pollard, 14 carries for 70 yards, but those 2 touchdowns, which obviously were very, very big, had a 25-yard run a little later on in the game. Rico Dowdle had a couple nice runs. And again, nothing spectacular, but it just shows this is going to be a committee I guess a committee force this upcoming season. Deuce Vaughn got a couple runs, and then that's more when the game is pretty much already decided. Now you're running second team. Cooper Rush is out there at quarterback. No, there's not really any fear of what your running game is going to bring at this point. So defense is pretty much selling out. They know you're trying to run out the clock. This was just, again, from top to bottom, it was just a great team win led by the defense. CeeDee Lamb, 4 catches, 77 yards. Brandon Cooks, 2 for 22. Tony Pollard, another 2 for 12, getting a little bit of work out of the backfield. Jake Ferguson, I said again, he was targeted multiple times this game, but he had a couple drops. More importantly, one on a 3rd and 8, I believe. Again, Jake Ferguson, I spoke about him. I have high expectations for him coming into this year because now no longer having a guy like Dalton Schultz. Although Dalton Schultz was not the perfect tight end, he was a nice safety valve for a guy like Dak Prescott in the quick pass game. So Jake Ferguson is going to have to find himself, I guess, just a comfortable ground in that position, because one thing you cannot be is the weak link. We're talking about everybody's going to start to turn eyes on everybody, especially we know it's going to start with Dak Prescott, and it'll go from there. So hopefully we can get a guy like Luke Schoonmaker back in the mix. Schoonmaker, you want to get him back in the mix of what this is. Peyton Hendershot also has a bad drop. That was possibly going to be a touchdown, another touchdown for Dak Prescott. So we just need to clean things up, but not too much to really complain about. Daniel Jones looking on the other side for the Giants. 15 for 28, 104 yards, 2 interceptions. Because I did say earlier that the forced, I guess you want to say, incompletion by Trayvon Diggs on Saquon Barkley. Deron Bland right there, perfect time. That was counted as an interception. So Daniel Jones ends up with no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He did run the ball again. We do notice what he does against the Cowboys. 13 carries, or gets 13 rushes for 43 yards. Saquon Barkley, 12 carries, 51 yards. The Giants pretty much did nothing all game that was anything that was going to. At no point, honestly, I will say, there was at no point where I felt any pressure on this defense. So that should just tell you everything you need to know. Darren Waller, supposed to be the biggest acquisition for this team. And again, I believe this is still week 1. Most teams are still trying to get some rust off. So I'm not expecting the Giants to look this terrible going forward. But Darren Waller, 3 catches, 36 yards, nothing to call home about. Again, we do know. I call him the tight end whisperer, J-Ron Curse. A guy that's underrated, doesn't always even get the name. You're not talking about him nationally all the time. But I guess, the more and more this team is shown, again, this defense is going to be on national TV. It's the Dallas Cowboys. People are finally going to start to be able to see that this defense is deep. You might have the big names, your Micah Parsons level type guys just throughout I guess they had long careers and tenures with the Dallas Cowboys, like DeMarcus Lawrence. Those guys are going to be named. But now when you're looking at a guy like just J-Ron Curse, Leighton Vander Esch, these are players that I'm literally going to just be more excited, because, again, if this defense can just continue this trend that was shown in at least week 1 last night, this is going to be a fun ride, and a lot of guys are going to get credit. Also, now look, and we're talking about, now we can go more specific on defense. We're talking about Marquise Bell leads the team with 8 total tackles. J-Ron Curse, 7 total tackles, second leading the team. Leighton Vander Esch, 6 tackles, total tackles. We had many guys just being around the ball. It was not one guy taking over. And again, we also, of course, see Micah Parsons gets, again, his first sack considered. Could have been 2, but the first was just pretty much considered a tackle for loss. Daniel Jones, bad snap exchange, everything, bad snap, whatever it was. But we do know this is not just a one-trick pony type defense running under Dan Quinn. You have many guys. Again, no one from the New York Giants made any plays at all. Again, USA stood out. Now, again, our offense did not play special, but again, I felt like that's just what the game called for. We are now looking in the mode where you're going to have to say, who are these guys that we can count on? You're not going to personally be able to look for just, again, a one-trick pony, as if Micah Parsons is the defense alone. No, you have your J-Ron Curses now throwing in. The D-line, I want to say, just guys like Chauncey Golston, guys like Dorrance Armstrong. We saw many guys, but I'm going to say again, it's more specifically, a guy like Osa Odigizua. He is a name that you're going to want to keep your eyes on because, again, we're talking about the guy, of course, first-round pick Mozzie Smith, also returning veteran Jonathan Hankins. But a guy like Osa Odigizua, I feel like he's going to turn a lot of heads this season because he is one of those guys, I guess you want to say, forgotten about. We're talking about DeMarcus Lawrence. A guy like Sam Williams, I have high expectations for just his talent level. At some point, he has to put it all together. But I'm just literally, this is going to, I don't want to say like kind of like a rock star situation, rock star band, but We have so many dogs on this defense. I think that's going to be something that at some point is going to feel like Cowboys fans are just bloviating and we're just excited about it. No, it's literally for good reason. And I feel like now the entire NFL is going to be on notice. The next Dallas Cowboys game will be next Sunday, September 17th at about 3:30 Central Time. Right now, the Dallas Cowboys are 3.5-point favorites, but we do know that means nothing because we're talking about Aaron Rodgers. We do know just that history he has with the Dallas Cowboys. The up and down roller coaster is being, we can never seem to just put him away, even going to last season against the Green Bay Packers. I'm expecting this to be a very good game. Definitely much closer than I was expecting, something like 40-0. So it should be much more of a tough battle. We will now be locking into that. So enjoy the rest of this day. Enjoy this win because the Dallas Cowboys put a whooping on the New York Giants 40-0. This now heading into week 2. We can finally start getting more serious. And now we have a little bit better idea of who will maybe be some contributors for this upcoming season. I appreciate you guys' support. Go ahead and like, subscribe, comment down below. Share, of course. Keep passing it all around because we'll continue to grow the channel. You guys are amazing. And as always, go Cowboys.